Okay, perfect. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this MoeGo Live with Planet Pooch. I'm Ivy from the MoeGo team, and I'm super excited to welcome you to our webinar, Lessons Learned from a 9-Van Operation to a Multi-Service Business. Melinda Sanford is also here with me to co-host and co-moderate, and you might have seen her at our trade show. She is our very own event lead and MoeGo cheerleader, and she's been with MoeGo for 3 years now and has her own growing grooming and retail business, Bark and Bone. So, a couple of housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded, and we'll be sharing the recording link with everyone afterwards. It'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. So, if you need to hop off in the middle of the webinar, no worries, you can still watch the rest of it. And then as we go along today, please drop your questions in the chat. Linda and I will do our best to record them all down so that we can answer them at the end of the Q&A portion and sometimes throughout the webinar too. And then now I'll kick it off to Melinda to introduce our guest.
Thanks so much, Ivy. Today's speaker, Andy, went from operating a single grooming truck to building a thriving mobile van grooming business that he also recently expanded into boarding and daycare. We're going to dive into how he diversified and scaled his business to achieve the financial freedom that he was really aiming for. So, if everyone can welcome Andy Gonzaga, the founder of Planet Pooch, please share a little bit about yourself and why you started your very own mobile business.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was like an honor when you guys reached out and wanted to know. I don't really see myself as like a teacher or like a someone who feels like they know everything. So when you guys asked, I even asked myself the question. I'm like, I don't know. I just keep on doing it. But a little bit is what my backstory is. My mom was a mobile groomer, and I really didn't have anything going on. So I started to do some mobile grooming at a high school, very young age of like 18, 19. Just kept on going. Was grooming in her van on her off days. Then she was looking to take a step back. So I started doing a few more days. So we almost split the truck. Just kind of led into me getting my own truck and did that for one truck operation probably for 4 years before I decided that I was like, okay, I need to kind of step this up and expand the operation. So just kept on getting more and more vans and more employees. So through the years, and then last year we closed on a building where we're doing daycare and boarding now. So that's the newest part of our business is the daycare and boarding. We're very excited about. Um, I know that's a very vague description because there's a lot of ups and downs along the way.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's over the past 14 years we've done that. That's where we're at today.
Yeah, that's awesome to have a business of your own for over 10 plus years. I kind of want us to dive a little bit deeper into your beginning years first. So starting off with like your initial mobile van, how did you grow from like 1 to 9? Like you said you had one for 4 years. When did you know like you were ready for it, and started to expand?
Yeah, so I ran the one van, and I think most mobile groomers, I would say most mobile groomers are one truck services. They're owner operators, and I just did that for quite a few years. I was even working at like 7 days a week at one point, and I would still tell myself like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be a groomer because I'm still, 18, 19, 20 years old. I'll take the civil service tests. I'll be a cop. I'll be this. I'll be that. So I was working 7 days a week and treating it as like I'm kind of doing this on the side. It was very crazy. Um, but then I decided that I really do like it. I enjoy it. Why not this? And just started to. I decided in 2014, I believe, to just buy a truck. Didn't even have another groomer. I just made the decision that I'm going to be a multiple truck business. I'm going to not be the sole groomer. And without even having an employee, which I wouldn't recommend, I just bought another truck. Just bought another truck. And I said, if I'm going to get a good employee, they're going to want full time hours. And I can't afford to not be in the truck. So that just means I need another truck. And then I think the first 4 or 5 people I hired quit like the first week I hired them. So I'm sure there's some people that are very maybe in that position now or scared of that very moment. So I thought about maybe not doing it for a little bit, but after I got my first employee, just kept on moving forward and okay, let's get another truck. Okay, let's get another truck, and just keep on filling in these spots. Um, and then I guess the first real big transition was when I had 4 vans. I finally stopped grooming every day. So I was picking up the phone, booking appointments, confirming appointments, grooming 6, 7 days a week. I just didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know that I was not supposed to be grooming. So that was the big leap, and that's what got us kind of to the next level after I decided to stop grooming.
Mm. What kind of laid the foundation for you to be from like um being a groomer and then taking on to that like management role?
Yeah, so I don't I'm not a great manager. I didn't think I was a great manager. I don't have tremendous turnover. I don't know if that means I'm a good manager or not, but uh, just being like getting off the truck, I'm so used to working my hands and having that instant gratification of okay, I show up at a stop, I do the work, I'm done. Now when you're managing, it's not as direct. You don't exactly know if you're doing the right thing every day. You don't know if this is the right way to manage people, if this is the right way to set up their payment, or if they want to work this much, or you're making decisions you're not really feeling immediately. So that was tough to swallow. But yeah, after I kind of got comfortable doing it, and of course I didn't do it alone. I have managers that help me. I have Stacy, who now runs the mobile company for me, who really helped me along the way. I'm like making decisions and staying connected with my team, so I wasn't making decisions that weren't, that everyone understood, that I was never out of touch. So that was very important too in making the right decisions.
I think
Mm,
this touches on a little bit earlier how we were saying, like, you almost have to get out there and try to learn. There is no guidebook that's going to be perfect for anyone to know how to scale their business. And it sounds like you just dove in feet first, head first, however you want to say it,
Yeah.
and then really just tried to gather as much knowledge as you were building it out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I have to do it myself to learn. I'm not a huge planner. I'm not a big reader. I really just need to dive in and do it. Even now, 14 years into the pet industry, I'm cleaning kennels just to see exactly how we should be cleaning them. In play groups to see if like everyone's doing the right thing. I like to be part of it. I like to feel it. I think it's super important. If you're going to ask people to do something correct, you know how to do it correct yourself. I'm a big, big believer in that. I just, yeah, I don't know. You would be hard to get respected throughout.
One
If
100%, 100%. I think I touch on this frequently. I'm not an actual groomer. I told you this. But I have worked every role within my own company to help build up the process and policies. And also it helps you find who to hire to be able to grow, because then you're going to look for certain traits or attributes in candidates to be like, okay, I need them to be able to be independent and forward thinking in this role. Okay, I need this person to be really policy driven, and it's going to really help you build out those expectations. And then once you have those processes and policies, it's then scalable. So it's like once you got past your first employee, it sounds like, and you were able to retain them, you then knew how to start building upon that.
Yeah, certainly turned into more of a math equation after a while. We spend this much money, we get these many dogs in, we get an employee, they can do this amount of dogs a day, we can send the truck out this many times a week. Um, I'm not a great operator, so I go back to Stacy again. She's really the operations around the business. I'm more of the let's move it forward. Let's take the risk. Let's push into the next thing. That's where I shine, and Stacy shines in the just making sure things are done every single day, which I think is a harder job to do. And she thrives in that. So thank God for her. Like I said, she's the one who runs my operation for me for the mobile, at least.
So it sounds like business operations is hard to manage, but then especially when you're scaling, it'll probably be even like harder to run across like multiple vans. Was there any tools or technology that kind of helps your business operations be a little bit more efficient or seamless?
Yeah, for sure. So we were a three truck operation operating out of an appointment book. And yeah, it was insane. Again, I'm not someone, if I was better at like planning and like get on the forums and look things up and see what people are doing, but I have to like fail a lot of the times to learn. I'm just that person. It's not an asset. It's don't do that. I would not recommend that. There's so much great information out there on the forums. So we were running a three truck operation in an appointment book, uh, giving out addresses. Like it was insane. It was really crazy. We actually used a different company than MoeGo to get started, and it was such a pain because the map aspect of MoeGo is a game changer for mobile. If you're a mobile company and you're not using MoeGo, it doesn't even really make sense because they have the coordinates on the map. If you're using whatever other company, you have to pull up a map, type in every single address, see how it lines up. Where in MoeGo, you're just clicking and dragging and you're seeing how your appointments line up. And they have an optimize button, they have different things like that. But really, until we were able to get the books dialed in with MoeGo, it was extremely hard to see past just a few vans.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're really using like the Roots tool in MoeGo. It's definitely beneficial to like, really optimize the time and also the gas that it takes for a mobile van to drive from like different locations and finding like the most efficient route. I'll pass it on to Melinda to kind of dive deeper into your driving force behind your business.
So yeah, something I want to talk about a little bit is you said like you kind of fell into this because your mom was a groomer, and then you mentioned that like you didn't really know what you wanted to do, but you knew you didn't want to groom in the back of a truck forever. So like, can you tell us a little bit more about like that journey and like, you know, when did it click that you really wanted to go from being a groomer to more of like a business owner? When did that mind shift happen for you?
Yeah. Hmm. It, it's really hard to say because again, it's like someone who goes and does something until I fail at it. So I almost failed my way into having to be a manager and having to start to think about growing because I wasn't able to keep up with the phone calls and this and that and groom at the same time. So just like with grooming, I figured out how long it's going to take me to do a dog, and I can do as many as possible. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'll do 12 dogs in a day in a mobile van,
That does
which
not sound enjoyable.
very crazy. So I'm the same way now that my job has changed from mobile grooming. Now I'm thinking about, okay, how many vans can I get out? How much debt can I take so I can get the vans out? And how many groomers can I take? And how many people? So I like to push. But yeah, but that's kind of getting away from the question. So the question more is like, speaking about, it took quite a few years to really start thinking about the true future and what, my exit strategy was going to be, where I want to be when I'm, in my 40s and my 50s. And, I understand how many years it takes it to like truly be successful and truly have an exit strategy. I saw where my mom was in her business, and she loved her career, and she still does love working with the animals. She comes to the building. She still grooms some dogs to this day. She works for my company now to do some payroll, helps out a lot tremendously. But I didn't see myself wanting to do that. So I knew what I didn't want to do, but I didn't have this grand master plan. I go, okay, so now how many trucks do I need to get off the van? How many trucks do I need to be able to pay a CO to run the company? How many trucks do I need to acquire a building? Um, so
So
like,
it sounds like it was like almost like a step towards a little bit more freedom in your life is what you were aiming for.
oh yeah, for sure. Once I realized that I didn't need to do everything, I leaned very hard into that. Leaning into that freedom. I have so many hobbies. I am nonstop with hobbies. This is why, also, if everyone knows, I crashed my bike the other day. That's why I have two black eyes and a broken nose. So I have so many hobbies, and I just like the freedom of never having to do something. I still groom dogs to this day because I love grooming dogs. I love my job. I love all that. But the moment I have to do it is when I lose passion for it. So the freedom was very, very, very important. And then that kind of what brings us into the building now with freedom. Because,
So,
yeah.
sorry, keep going. You cut out for a moment.
So the next step with freedom is like now, all right, so I grew this business. We're doing well. Things are going, but now all great businesses they'll sell. I'm starting to think about selling a business now. I'm like, okay, I'll sell, move on to the next thing, or I'll retire early or whatever. And I'm seeing that people aren't selling mobile grooming businesses. So I started to see that. I started to see, okay, even if you're doing millions and millions in sales, I'm not seeing private equity firms buy these things. And, so then I go, okay, so is this true freedom? Because then I'm just an operations guy. I'm just running the operation just until I decide to retire and you sell the trucks off. There's no business for sale. But then I got my eyes on the daycare and boarding, and the private equity firms are salivating for these companies. And just the business is so much different, and it's so much more uh, serious. I don't want to say serious because that kind of talks down grooming, but it's so much more. It's very numbers oriented, and
Yeah.
there's a huge exit strategy to be had. So if you truly want to retire, if you do everything correct, you can have a serious retirement fund if you do it right.
So I want to touch on that a little bit more. Like, how would you define freedom as a business owner? Because, like, as you said, like we're never really free. Like we always work, but like, what is the difference? Would you say, like, what freedoms do you get as a business owner versus not?
I really I never want to have to do something. So I want my business to be profitable enough to be able to hire somebody to do every single aspect of the business. Uh, but even though I'll do the roles myself, but I never want to have to do it to make my business successful. So I think that's freedom. I think a lot of people don't realize how much in sales it takes to truly step away from your business, to be hire somebody to pick up every phone call, to talk to every client, to just do everything, fix all the little things. It takes such a gross amount of sales to truly step away from your business and acquire that freedom. It's harder than you think. So that's what I defined as not having to do anything to be successful, to be profitable, I guess.
I'm gonna pass it over to Ivy now to kind of keep us going.
Sounds good. So we know that financial freedom is like one of your main driving factors for growing your business. But I guess like for other pet care professionals tuning in now, they're probably thinking like, okay, but in that moment, how did you know that you're like or how did you know when things in your business are aligned for that expansion? So like what sense would they look at? Like maybe any financial like factors that you took in or staffing factors?
Uh, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy to be like, okay, we're up 36.9 on sales. So we need to, that equates to one more employee and the debt versus, I'm not that guy. If we have multiple weeks that were booked in advance, my groomers aren't able to see new clients because they're fully booked. I'm immersed in the business. I'm seeing the trends. I'm seeing kind of, okay, are my groomers starting to have 5 dog days instead of 6? Is there a waiting list for a few weeks? Those are really the signs. You don't have to be like, you don't have to do this math equation. I think people overcomplicate it. Uh, are you getting top pricing in your area? That's number one. That's always my number one. You need to get top pricing to attract top talent. If you're paying them commission or hourly, you can't pay them enough if you're not charging top dollar. I think we're just about the most expensive service in town, if not second most expensive service in town. And yeah, so are you charging enough? On top of that, are your groomers consistently booked, and are you starting to have a waiting list? then I would pull the trigger. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that.
I'm going to touch on that one because I'm actually in the middle of an expansion myself with my husband. And I'm going to say you also have to make sure, like, do you want to replicate what you currently have in place? And so, Andy, something that maybe you can touch on here is like you talk about your appointment book. There was probably a point there where you were not using technology, you were booked, and you probably had like a wait list to where you could expand, but you didn't have a process, policies, procedures, or tools that were scalable for you to continue success. Like you couldn't keep answering those phone calls. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a great point because I haven't been a larger scale business. And I don't even want to say larger, but I haven't been like more than a few trucks without having the backing of the technology. I couldn't imagine having 9 vans and not having, MoeGo. I mean, all of our everything we run through MoeGo. So I don't know how you would do it without it. I truly don't. And I'm not even like trying to talk you guys up. I just like between how we get people to rebook, how we confirm appointments, how we market. We've collected people's information for the last 14 years. If we ever do an email blast, we send 9,000 emails. If we wanted to do a mass text, our mass text list, our full list is about 12,000 different numbers we have. So as far as like if I wanted to put another truck on the road, those tools are so important. Yeah, I don't know how you do it without that.
and I'm going to say, like on my end, when it came to am I ready for expansion, is I also looked at my hiring and retention. Like, I do have a groomer that put in her notice, but she gave me over a 3 month notice. And so I think hearing something from that as an employer, like this groomer is choosing to leave not because of toxicity or we don't treat her right, like she has to do something for her personal life. And it's like, besides that, I have employees that have been with my company since day one and they're still there.
Yeah.
And I think like empowering and up leveling and giving them like growth paths, like what do you want to do, and making grooming an actual career for them, and being able to attract talent. You can't expand if you don't have a strong brand and strong culture and people want to work for you. It's like you said in the very beginning, high turnover. Um, Hiring is challenging. Me and my husband kind of keep score on who's winning on the best hires. I think I'm losing because I had some poor life choices. But it's a very challenging job. And so it's like once you have the staff in place, the process, the policies, the customers, the branding, okay, let's replicate this. But you need to have it solid to start replicating it. You don't want to replicate a disaster.
Yeah, no, I think you speaking to about employees and the culture and this and that is so important. And talking about being able to talk to your employees and asking them truly like, what are you after? Are you after your own business at some point? That's fine. That's totally fine. I
Yeah.
had my first ever solid employee has I think 2 or 3 vans now. We chat still, here and there we'll text. And I have I think 2 other employees that went out on their own. And one of them crashed one of their vans the other this summer, and I let her borrow one of our vans. I let her come into our facility and use our groom room. But here's how that works. Now, when I reach out to her and I say, "Hey, I really need a groomer," one of my groomers speaking to what you said. One of my groomers is moving, so um, she'll recommend anyone to my business because she knows how good we are to our employees. So that really goes around. If you're good to your employees and you can have an open, honest conversation, that's so important. You're right on that.
Wait, that's actually really nice because I've been seeing some questions pop into our Q&A section, and a lot of them are asking like, where do you find your groomers? It's hard to find good and reliable ones. What's the process of finding if they meet the caliber of work you're looking for?
I love talking about this one.
Go ahead.
So I have one of my groomers. I actually did not hire her. She had zero grooming skills. Funny story, I was burnt out. I wanted to actually hire the person before her. And my husband was like, no, I really want this girl to come in because she has food service experience. I was like, why does that matter? I personally have never worked food service, so I had no idea what he was going at. With food service, they're really used to upselling and communicating with their customers. So we hired on this girl as a sales associate, and she was crushing it. She was doing great on the retail. And then I show up one day and she's like in the back bathing dogs. I'm like, oh, what's happening? She's like, oh, I think I want to do this. And so we invested in her and we trained her up, and she does some fabulous grooms now. She is fantastic with her customer service. So it's going to be a balance of finding talented groomers and also investing in people that you know are going to have the same vision for your business and your brand as you. And so she's one that I'm going to tell you, like, I invested in. And then I have another one who I 100% poached. She was on a Facebook group and she was like, I'm very interested in getting involved in competitive grooming. I have zero experience in competitive grooming, guys. But I reached out to her and said, hey, I have no experience, but I own a grooming salon and I think it would be awesome for me to like help sponsor and encourage my employees to do competitive grooming. And so she joined my team. We had her do a demo groom, and then we had her bathing for a while because we are very similar to you, Andy. Like, we're at the top price range, so we, provide a premium service. And she was already a groomer, but she spent a couple months with our senior groomers to really fine tune her skills. And then this year, she actually was in her first competitive grooming competition. So it's being able to evaluate. It's like we talked about earlier, like what values and factors makes a good employee, because there's going to be the objective value, which is like how fast are they at grooming, what is their actual skill set, how many dogs per day can they do, and then there's going to be the subjective value, which is like, what are their long-term goals, are they going to help contribute to your brand, like, are they going to, we're talking about culture. It's huge, like making sure you protect your culture. And I don't build my shop's culture. That'd be hilarious by me saying that. My team builds it. But by enabling them and making an environment to where they can build a healthy culture, you're going to have happier employees. So, and I have hired another groomer through Indeed. And so I know there's some questions on there. Like, when I have hired groomers through Indeed, I don't know about you, Andy, but we brought them in. We like do a paid demo day where we test out their skills. Um, what do you do when hiring on a groomer?
So where we're at now, like what you were speaking on with culture and how they add value to the business that way and long term, that's definitely how we look at things now. But in the beginning, when you don't have time, like I don't. If I heard us talking about this when I had one truck, I would be like, I don't even have time to think. Like, what are we talking about culture? Like, I got 10 dogs tomorrow. So I think it depends where you are. Of course, you want something who's going to stick around for a long time. That's great. But I think an immediate change you can make is charging the most. I know I go back to that again because if you're paying your groomer commission or you're paying them hourly, you can afford to pay them more. Money does talk, and I think it's easier to get top billing than it is to build a culture. Building a culture is so, like you said, they're building the culture. You're just making the setting for them and you're making it as pleasant as possible so they can have a positive culture. But in the beginning, I would really point to just high pricing. High pricing is also going to get you nice trucks. Because if you're competing with me and hiring somebody, I'm going to put them in a 2023 Wagon Tails, which is $120,000, and they're going to make commission on a dog that costs $165. If you're charging $100 and you're getting away with doing that because you're working in a older Wagon Tails that's paid off, why would they like? You guys might jive very well, but money talks. People got to pay their bills at the end of the day. And if I can make a better setting because my prices are better, that would be the most immediate and easier thing to do. And then once you start to get some people, now you can pick and choose who you want. Now you can say this person's great for our culture. They're gonna cultivate a great thing. They're gonna bring better people in. So as far as hiring, that's in the beginning stages to where we're at now. That's how I look at it.
So I kind of want to step into this a little bit more because we're talking about staff hiring and culture. How did you prepare your staff and the business as a whole, like when you decided you wanted to branch into the daycare and boarding? Like, how did you make that leap? And was it your existing staff? Did you get new staff? Talk about that a little bit.
So all new staff. There's definitely my staff members from the mobile. My day oneers that have been there with me for so long, always looking to step up. Oh, can I step in? These girls are making plenty of money, but they can I sit? Can I help out in play group? I pay per hour in play group. I don't pay anything like the groomer. Them helping me out is so pivotal, something like that. And I go back to Stacy again. If I didn't have Stacy, I would not be able to do this because I would have to be running the mobile. I would not be able to do this. She runs the mobile for me, and if I had to do day-to-day operations, I could not have gotten myself to this point with the daycare, even thinking about the daycare and boarding. But no, all new staff now, and how they jive together. Mobile. It's just they're on their own most of the day. A lot of my groomers take their trucks home, so there's not a tremendous amount of overlap. Um, it seems to be working pretty well, because we're not really competing with ourselves because that's just grooming.
So then we can jump into this. Like, how did this diversify your business? Like, how do clients use mobile in your daycare and boarding? Do they usually do brick and mortar or mobile? Like, talk about your clientele a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So we thought we'd have a little bit stronger of a crossover, to be honest. And again, going back to MoeGo, we were able to take, like I said before, we have 12,000 people we can text if we want. We could have 8,000, 9,000 people we can email. Hey, Planet Pooch just opened up a daycare and boarding facility in Franklin Square. Come check it out. Free first day, yada, yada. So getting that first influx of clients was easier for us than it would be just a startup. Um, it wasn't as big of a crossover as I would hope for. Still trying to figure out exactly why, but we are only 8 months into the daycare and boarding facility, so
Okay.
we'll kind of understand kind of who's buying from us here a little bit better by the end of the year. But yeah, no, we market. When we send a mass email out for a boarding, we send it to everybody. We send it to everybody, and we try to bring people in. I think eventually we will offer like a club card or something where you can pay a monthly fee, and that would go across our mobile grooming, daycare, boarding, just to start in with that membership program. I think a lot of those private equity firms really like to see that membership program. So maybe something, maybe geared towards next year.
Super exciting. I dream of daycare and boarding, but it also just like really scares me because I like my brick and mortar and I like my brick and mortar. I'm scared to make the leap. Everyone tells me make the leap, make the leap. But yeah, I haven't yet.
Were there any challenges you faced when opening up and adding on a boarding and daycare to your business?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely more controlled. The standards are, although our standards in grooming are high at Planet Pooch, you don't need high standards in grooming. I mean, I think you can see that. I think a lot of the people know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows that one truck around town that charges 20, 30, 40, or $50. You don't need a license. You don't. So the challenge of being hyper legitimate, understanding like the medical aspect of it all. Uh, Although you're working with dogs, you're working with them in a different capacity. Understanding the build out of the building, the permits associated, all that has been a huge learning curve for me over the last year. Even going to the daycare and boarding for, expos and stuff.
What are your goals for like the boarding and daycare aspect of your business? If you're like talking about expansion, like what have you put in place to make your boarding and daycare part like as successful as your mobile grooming side of your business?
Yeah, so just setting up the system so I can step away at some point. Um, Melinda was really talking about that and setting up the systems correctly so we figured out how we can do mobile grooming and move forward to the next unit. We're doing that here. It's a 5,000 square foot facility. That's small for this kind of business. So this would be more of a proof of concept. It's like a 40 dog facility. Ongoing, we do want to have multiple facilities that can generate more revenue than what we're doing here, and that's not because I want to make more money. That's because I want to hire better general managers and hire better staff, and you just need a bigger engine to get better people. So this is more of a proof of concept, but a couple of these over the next 10 years would be nice, and yeah, maybe get out at some point.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Well, what about like keeping client experience seamless across like grooming, mobile, and boarding and take care? Like, how does all of it speak to them saying like this is Planet Pooch's experience?
Beating the dead horse here, but pricing, high pricing. If your groomers only have to do 5 dogs or 6 dogs rather than 7 or 8, they're going to do a better job. They're going to have deeper relationships with those 5 or 6 people a day. You get better pricing. You can hire full-time office people to answer your phones. You can afford to give back rooms. You can afford to pay vet bills without big fights. Sometimes $200 is worth not getting a bad Google review to me.
Yeah, I
For
know that one. I know that one. Facts.
But if you don't have the money, if you're month to month, a $200-300 vet bill is a big deal.
So is it so much as pricing or just like making sure that you're at that top tier so that you're getting, because I'm going to challenge it. You keep saying pricing, and I'm going to say, know your worth. Like you're providing a great experience. You have a solid brand. You have good staff members. So it's not like you're just charging this outrageous price. You're charging what your team is actually worth. You're not undervaluing your team because to have that great customer experience, you need to have that front desk person. That way they're able to answer the customers quickly. So it's knowing your team's value almost is a nicer way to say pricing, but it's the same thing. We're saying the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah. Yeah, the mobile it's easier to sell the value in the mobile grooming because the mobile grooming speaks for itself. It goes, oh, I'm convenient. I come to you. I do. It's kind of it speaks for itself. But I've had that happen here at the boarding facility on like what the kind of chemicals we buy. We have UV lighting in the vents in the circulation. So we have like medical grade air through the whole facility. We have our floors, our walls are all water. Like those little things and understanding that we built this place right and safe, and we're doing things right and safe. Um, Gives me confidence when I go, okay, I'm the top billing doggy daycare around. Um, Not just because I put the work in. I went to the boarding expos. I hired consultants. I went to all different. I put the legwork in. I didn't just decide I'm going to charge a bunch of money. So you're right there. Maybe I'm not. I should probably speak on that a little more. But yeah, I did about a year of research with flying out to Vegas, going to Jersey, probably toured 7 or 8 facilities. Yeah, got to do your due diligence and show your value.
Yeah, because I think this is touching on. I'm looking through some of these questions, Ivy. Should we start diving into the questions? Am I too early? Um,
We're good. We're gonna start diving into the questions.
But the reason I brought up that pricing question is because it looks like somebody said, I heard you mention justifying pricing by explaining that it allows you to pay your employees well. Beyond that, how else do you justify your prices to clients? I sometimes struggle with setting my prices because of the fear that I won't attract enough clients. And this is where I think we're kind of talking about this right now, but communicating to them the value, and you're mobile, so you already have value there because you're the convenience. I don't have that luxury. I'm brick and mortar. People have to come to me, and I'm definitely on the high end. And so, like, we try to communicate with our clients when we have a price increase. Like, the reason we are doing this price increase is because we're not going to cut any corners. We're only going to use the best products. We're going to do a blueberry facial on every single dog. We don't trim nails, we grind everything because so it's not just pricing high, but also explaining to your customers and making sure that they know what they're paying for, as well as giving them a stellar experience. Like I said it, Bark and Bone. My vibe we kind of stole from Whole Foods. I was like, what do I want to be portrayed as? Like, what do I want to be? I don't want to be, you know, the cheap place that everyone goes. I want to be the place of, oh my gosh, your dog looks so good. Where did you go? People are like, oh, I went and saw so and so at Bark and Bone. You should call. And then boom, online booking.
Right.
And what answering that question a little bit more, like how would you in the mobile justify your pricing? Because it sounds like some of our guests are having a hard time and they're concerned that their pricing isn't going to attract enough clients.
Yeah, I struggle with this a little bit. And maybe I just live in a good, like, I don't want to give anyone excuses not to push themselves, but maybe I live in a good area because I've never really had an issue with getting rebooks. And once I'm face to face with a client, I'm making a relationship with them, and I'm more than just a groomer. My groomers sell my value. Like, everyone can go finance a dog grooming truck, like the top of the line. We don't, we have some good marketing, and we put stuff out, and we tell people what we do and why it's luxurious and why it's great for a dog with high anxiety, which everyone thinks their dog has huge high anxiety, which a lot of them do. Um, but the relationships, and maybe the relationships are deeper in mobile grooming. So I really struggle with the mobile grooming side of things on how I would justify my pricing. Um,
I think I'm going to say, like, to anyone out there who's scared about your pricing, if you raise your prices 20%, you can lose 20% of your clients. You'll be doing less work for the same amount of money. So don't undervalue yourself. You don't want to be doing more work for less money. And it's scary raising prices. Like we did it, I say we, my husband did it because I was actually not in agreement. I was too scared to raise the prices, and I'm so glad we did because we needed to. So I think having that mindset of when you go to adjust your prices, yeah, you're gonna lose some clients. I feel like for a lot of us, smaller single location or like less than four vans, you will lose some clients, but you also need to make room for those clients that are willing to pay more for your services as well. So losing some of those clients isn't always a bad thing.
yeah, and that's a perfect opportunity to start to think about your marketing, because I think a lot of people with one or two or three trucks aren't doing the marketing that a place like us, we have to do our marketing. Otherwise, we won't be busy enough.
So we're
So
talking about marketing. We have somebody who said like they're asking, that's why I want
yeah,
you to keep talking, but how important are platforms like Nextdoor, Facebook, and Google Ads in terms of marketing to gain more clients, branding, and expansion? So that's the question, and I feel like you can answer it right now.
yeah, for sure. So, like, okay, exactly. You have two trucks or three trucks. You're scared to up prices. Let's say you lose 20% of your clients. All right, so now you're home a little earlier. Get on MoeGo. This is virtually free. I understand SMS credits cost something, but do a mass text, send an email out, try to reconnect with these clients. I guarantee you'll get a couple. It doesn't cost that much to get those, but that's the immediate thing. If you get fired and you go home at 3 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock, go send some messages out. Hey, I haven't seen you. Following up. Hey, we send the follow-ups out every Monday. We haven't seen you in 4 weeks. Would you like to schedule your next appointment? Every single Monday. So if you have some extra time in your hands, start sending out some text messages and find the people who are willing to pay. Outside of MoeGo, we pay for, of course, it costs for credits for texting and email. We have not had the best luck with Instagram and Facebook. This year, we actually got locked out of our Instagram, our Meta accounts. So we're doing just organic marketing, but we're actually not able to advertise behind our accounts, and we cannot get it unfrozen. And we've put months and months of time into trying to do that. So we just do organic stuff. Google, number one. if you are going to if you're like, okay, it's time for me to make a decision to spend money on marketing, or spending 5% of all sales on marketing, or 3%, whatever it is, Google. It's just Google. You can learn it yourself if you want. I don't do that, but there's people who provide this service for you, a couple $100 a month. They'll run your Google ads. Um, I Planet Pooch, I think we spend $6,000 a month at Google. That's just Google. We're on Bark and we're on that. It doesn't cost anything, so we're just kind of listed on there. And speaking to Google reviews, again, MoeGo. Every time you close out an appointment, you should be asking your clients for a Google review. We have 450 Google reviews that are close to 5-star, and no one's going to take that from you. So even if you stop paying Google for ads, no one's taking 500 reviews from you. You should be there's so much to do with that, and you don't have to spend that much money to get good results.
It's interesting that you say Google, because I'm going to say we've been using Facebook for Bark and Bone, and we've been having really good luck with. We actually had one of our employees' dogs that was muddy and covered in dirt, and her after picture, she was a Louchin, so beautiful white fluffy dog, and that performed really well. And then we watched the metrics, and as soon as it started losing with engagement, well, my team is crazy talented. I was like, hey, can someone make us a TikTok reel or something like that of a transformation? And then we put dollars behind that. So I think when you're doing marketing on Facebook or on Google Ads, Google's fantastic, so I'm not going to speak on that one, but I'm going to talk Facebook and Instagram. You need to make sure you change out your content. So track when your content stops losing traction, and that's when it's time to swap it out. You also need to keep in mind that you want to catch their attention in 3 seconds. Most people are like me. I have the attention span of a goldfish, guys. So you need to be able to catch me quick, and nothing catches me quicker than a cute dog in a bathtub. So, yes, marketing is super fun. I love it. And it's one of those things that, for all you guys that are a little bit smaller business, it doesn't take Planet Pooch. You're doing $6,000. That's huge. You don't have to invest that. You can start with a couple $100 a month, and then you can track on where you're capturing these leads, because MoeGo does have that option with the online booking funnel. You can see where your leads come from. At least that's what I do, because we just started running field events as well. We went to a local community festival, and my team crushed it by handing out QR codes with our online booking. So get creative with the marketing, guys. It's really fun. And you don't have to do $6,000 right away. You can make a cute video, post it, and put $20 a day behind it and see what happens. And we track how many new dogs we get a day when we're running an ad versus not. So, yeah, I think marketing, all those platforms are super important. What other questions? There's so many, and I'm having a hard time keeping up.
Yeah. I'm noticing a good amount of like kind of mobile van business operation questions. Like one of them from Shannon is to fill your first staff van, did you give them all your schedule until theirs become full time?
Trying to think. So my first employee was Chrissy. Um, I was doing such a high volume of dogs for myself. Like I was saying, I would routinely do 10, 11, 12 dogs. So I just gave her 4 dogs of my dogs a day, and I do 8. Just whoever was receptive to it. Of course, when you're a one truck business going to a 2, nobody wants to use your new groomer. And I'll give you a heads up, if you are going to be going to multiple trucks where you're not going to groom, I have 4 people who I originally groomed their dogs. So it's a weird thing. It's going to happen. I don't want you to tell me who my new groomer is. I'm going to pick my own new groomer. It's going to happen. Be prepared for it. Don't take it personal. It happens to everybody. But when I got a first new person, first off, I was fully booked. So people would call me and I would say, I'm not taking new clients. So I would start giving her all those. And I would give her a couple of my clients that I would be originally doing that day. So that's how I manage that.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question. I'll speed run through some of these because some of them are kind of short. From Tony, how and where do you find a place to keep the vans?
So I originally, I'm a talker. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'll talk to anybody. And uh, this guy had a boatyard. He was willing to put in some extra electric for us, good enough electric that it would hold space heaters to my trucks. Willing to work with me with the water over the, we're in Long Island, New York, so it freezes. So we rented a piece of a boatyard. And then, so we had, I think, up to 6 trucks there. But now, of course, now we own the building here, and the building was always supposed to be centrally located in our service area. So now all the trucks come here or go home with my employees.
Hmm. The next question is, what's your pay structure for groomers, commission, hourly, or benefits?
One more thing, I didn't really answer that question. Just ask around. I mean, storage facilities are a little bit tough. They're very corporate. So look for more of a private person that's willing to like work with you. Maybe a construction company who owns a big building with a big lot who wants to offload some of those taxes. They might be willing to put some electric in for you. Say you give them a year commitment. So look for privates. It's hard to do the big corporate storage facilities because they don't want to give you electric. They don't want to give you water. They don't want you cleaning your truck there. Sorry. Uh, uh,
Very good.
Pay structure, we pay high, we pay 40% commission. We pay 40% commission, which is high for the industry. Um, I think if I wanted to just be a mobile grooming company and be able to put enough money away in my retirement account to retire one day, knowing that I was just going to sell the trucks one day, I would probably have to pay my groomers between 30 and 35%, which is more in line to being a really profitable business that can go a long time.
I'll jump in, and I think some that don't know me is I do pay my groomers actually hourly, and then based on their like scheduled days, I give them like a revenue goal, and then they get a bonus. Another question in there is benefits. I do not offer health benefits yet, but I do obviously very generous PTO, holidays paid off. With the retail store, my groomers get some perks there. You know, they get a store credit. So, because I think it's really important for them to be able to use the products that we actually sell. And with us selling premium products, you know, a lot of raw dog food, I want my team to be able to feed those products. I also cover all sharpening. So it's my pay structure is to answer that, it is hourly with a revenue goal and bonus with various benefits. Now, I do not offer health insurance, is what I want to say. Tier, that's a goal for mine. Personal goal is I want to be able to offer my team health insurance.
Melinda, quick question. Do you know what your operational expenses are for payroll?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you want to share. You don't have to share it, obviously. I just
I'm not going to share that on a webinar.
understood.
but yes, I will tell you, I am not the highest profit margins because I view my company as an investment. Probably very similar to you is that you know, I invest in my team, so I invest in my business. You know, that is what I do with it. If that makes any sense. What's our next question, Ivy?
Yes. An anonymous person asks, when you started with your first van, how did you set your service area? County, zip code, mile radius from central location?
Yeah, so I had my first van. I basically followed what my mom did because she did it. So I was like, okay, so Monday she does this, Tuesday she does this, Wednesday, and so I was like, oh, I'll just do the same thing. And I think the same thing I did to my first groomer, she did to me. So it just naturally came. It is, I was born into it, so it came a little more natural to me. I was very slow to expand my service area when I started adding trucks. Very, very slow. None of my trucks had 100,000 miles on them. Most of my trucks have 40 or 50,000 miles. We don't drive. We don't pay to. Also, we're in Long Island, New York, where 5 miles is 45 minutes. Uh, so we have a small radius. Only Nassau County, Long Island, which it might be a radius of 20 miles for 9 trucks, which is outrageous if you guys don't live where we live. But yeah, I wouldn't chase if that's what they're asking. Don't chase. Don't go to like the next town and the next town because someone's calling you. Turn it down because you got to go back in 4 weeks. So stay small.
Solid advice. On the same topic about like mobile vans, someone said, I know that some mobile companies charge a fee to groomers for using the van. Do you have that or they make 40% of the whole price you charged?
So some groomers have like a convenience fee for mobile grooming, like a full ticket price. Yeah, we don't do that. We just go full ticket. Again, it's something I considered doing some sort. So if people don't know what we're talking about, if you're, let's say your groom is to come do your shih tzus at $100. $10 is a service charge that goes straight to the company. It's not considered commission. A lot of mobile grooming companies do that. It's very understandable. I get it. We don't do that. I'm not opposed to doing that. I can see us going to that model. At some point, but we do of the ticket price, full ticket.
I didn't know that. I learned something new. That's exciting. I see another question on here that do you allow online booking or do they also make customer forms? I'm going to say, guys, if you're scared of online booking, you better email me and I'm going to teach you how to do online booking because it's scary as groomers, but it is game changing. Like, I'm hoping you use online booking too, Andy, right?
No, we do not use online booking. We do not use online booking for mobile grooming. Mobile grooming scheduling is brutal. It is brutal to route. It's brutal to schedule. I couldn't imagine my clients picking their time slots and what time, and we'd be driving this way and that way and that way. We do online booking for our daycare and boarding facility. Um, it makes more sense. If there's a time slot, we're here, but I'm not going to drive 10 miles this way, then 10 miles that way because she put an online booking request in.
I'm going
There,
to say, Andy, you still got to email me because with MoeGo, you can shut off times and you can create zones to where like you can have people submit and you could put like I hear you. I hear you because I used MoeGo for 18 months before I turned on online booking and it's like so powerful and it's one of those things that like even if you have a full book, like you can always use it to just attract those new customers. Like uh it's scary and everything you're saying is very valid. um I just would love to challenge and find a solution because I think that there is missed opportunities out there. Like my groomers and my staff are really scared to do online booking because like to do we're brick and mortar, so I understand it's different, but to do 8 to 10 dogs a day, that's a perfect balance of this dog, this Yorkie, this returning client. Yes, but at minimum they could be doing what, 5 or 6, and you could have weight limits and breed limits and you could have it be only existing users or only new users and you can shut off time. There are so many options to make it fit your business. You better email me later and we're going to figure out how to make online booking work for you.
was going to end that with saying if you are interested in online booking for mobile, talk to Chris at The Rough Life. He's
True.
given these seminars before. He has, I think, I don't know how many trucks he has. He might have close to 20 at this point. And he's also here on I'm friends with them. They're here on Long Island with us. They're not too far from us. He is someone who I'm assuming perfected online booking. Also, if anyone's looking for, like, he's a great business guy. He's strictly business. I'm a groomer who tried to figure it out along the way, where Chris is a business dude and he's always ahead. He's always ahead of the game. So if you're looking for online booking for mobile, he's the source. He's the guy.
That's actually really funny. We had a webinar with Chris, I think like last month or something.
I saw Chris and Hershey too, and he asked me again when I'm getting a van. I was like, I'm not doing it yet. I'm not doing it.
Yet,
Yeah.
yet.
I know. Because every fear I tell him, he tells me to just get over it. We'll see. I have no idea what the future holds for Bark and Bone.
Lena says, how do you handle when they have accidents and damage to your van? And that is very scary because, like, a van for each employee to kind of manage.
Yeah, obviously background checks. You can't work for me if you have a bad driving record. You can't work for me if you have a DWI. It's just the insurance will cut them out immediately. Won't even allow them to work for me. Yeah, that is a really, really brutal thing. Maybe an unspoken thing that people don't realize when you become this larger truck business. You're not really controlling it anymore. It's just par for the course. We're our insurance per truck at this point is over $9,000 per year per truck. So our insurance is basically a partner in the business. So that's again, you got to charge the right rates. Yes, with 2 trucks and no accidents because you and your cousin do the grooms and you really take care of the trucks, you can be profitable charging those prices. But as you grow, there will be accidents, there will be lawsuits, there will be. It is what it is. Be prepared to pay huge insurance rates. You don't know. I mean, you can fire a groomer if they are not taking care of your stuff and they're crashing multiple times, but accidents happen. I mean, we also got dash cams in our vans. This last few months, so we have dash cams on the drivers. We have dash cams on the road that talk to them. Send me alerts when they're on their phone. Send me alerts when they're off their routes. So I would do that as well. But again, another expense a month. So charge those prices. You got to get your prices up.
Yep, everything comes back to price. Another question was, how do you prevent groomers from stealing your clients if they open their own van?
I don't. I don't. I think I add more value than they're going to get going out on their own. I think yes, they might make 20% more, but I think I'm worth 20%. If they don't think that, I'm not here to argue that. I'm not going to sue them. I don't care. I move forward. I don't get caught up in that. I see that online on a lot of forums. Um, Good luck with that fight. It's a waste of energy. Move on to the next groomer and move forward. That's a waste of time.
Oh, someone had a follow-up. What dash cam brand do you use?
So only a few months now. Camera-matics. I believe because I bought a bunch of them, I got them down to $50 a month for each van. But look into them. They have a great system, a great. You can tap in anytime to check in on your driver. And again, the cameras even talk to your drivers. They say, "Stop, get off your phone, keep your eyes on the road." And it's
That's really good.
a little bit Big Brother, but I mean, I'm paying huge insurance bills, so get off your
We
phone.
have cameras in our salon as well, simply for if something were to ever happen to, it's not necessarily to spy on our team, it's for protection of the pets. Like if something happens and, accidents happen, you know, things happen. I want to be able to have it documented.
Yeah,
Um, so we have cameras as well.
for sure.
I know we are a little over, but we do have a couple more questions, so we'll try our best to speed run them as fast as possible. And I'll make note of this and save more time for the Q&A for future webinars. But we have another question that asks, what are some tips on how to utilize MoeGo's prospects and convert them as clients? What are your best marketing tools that help build clients?
Uh, you said for prospect clients.
Yeah, like I guess like prospects into clients and like using marketing to like lead that conversion.
I can jump on this one and say I love the abandoned booking feature. So like I spat it into ChatGPT is a very powerful tool, guys. It's not cheating, but I put in a prompt and said like, hey, I want this under X amount of characters so that it's only no more than 2 SMS. Insert client's name, and then it says, hey, Susie. This is Melinda from Bark and Bone. I noticed you didn't finish your booking. Is there something I can help you with? And I can't tell you how many times people respond and we book them. And then they see me at the shop and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Melinda, you text me at like 10:30 p.m. What are you doing up so late?" And I'm like, "I know. I never sleep, guys." No, it's the abandoned booking feature is fantastic. I also use in the dashboards, you can have your KPIs are really important to track when adjusting my pricing. I see where they fall off. Am I too high? Am I too low? In my booking funnel. Something that Andy touched on. Every Monday, you send out an SMS for rebooking. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. We do quite a bit. So we in the facility, not the mobile grooming, we do online booking, we do abandoned booking. So anyone who looked, we're reaching out, we're calling, we're texting, we're trying to get people on the phone. We also every other week we do have a lot. So sorry for overwhelming a little bit, but every other week we'll send a mass text to prospect labeled clients. Prospect labeled clients are clients who inquired but never felt came through in an appointment. So
Okay.
this can be a very specific text message. Hey, I know we touched base. It can be whatever. You send this mass text out. Most people say stop. You take them off the list. So that's one thing we do is to speak on that prospect. I know someone said prospect. Another thing we do is the mobile grooming department will go into, I believe it's lapsed booking or I forget what it was. So then we have it set so like if you're 4 weeks out from your appointment, you can set it so you get an automatic text. We didn't do that. We like to manually send it out when we want it because sometimes we're a little too busy to be sending out reach outs. We call them reach outs. So I believe it's lapsed clients. I don't have MoeGo open right now, but you go into lapsed clients and it will give you a full list of each client that hasn't used you in whatever you're doing your reach outs, whether it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Hey, it's Andy with Planet Pooch. I see you haven't used us in 8 weeks. More creative than that, use AI. Are you ready to book your next appointment? So we do that. And then what's the other thing we do? For our daycare clients, we send our schedule out every Monday to our daycare tagged clients. So we're big into tags here. So we'll also do a mass text on Mondays through our boarding and daycare number to our daycare clients. Hey, it's Planet Pooch Pet Resort. Our hours this week is always the same hours. And then the events this week is it's Ace's birthday on Wednesday. It's Popsicle Party on Thursday. And don't forget about Saturday, it's half off nails every single Monday. So it prompts people to book for the week. So we love these tools. We love these tools.
I'll touch on that a little bit for the prospects. When we started adding that when we had somebody new try to book online and they abandoned and they didn't respond to the abandoned booking feature, I would have my front desk actually give them a call. And we have we talk about pricing a lot. We don't offer a bath and tidy. We offer a bath, a full groom, and then a luxe. And our luxe is the highest end Botanica products. And is what we do is when we call, those customers, we ask them like, "Oh, would you like a free upgrade to the Luxe?" Which is a $35 to $55 value. And then I'm getting that customer in, I'm giving them a fantastic experience, and then I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to retain them. So that's the reason I mentioned that is I think the question like was about prospects, like getting new clients. Giving them a phone call if they don't respond to the text has been working pretty well for us. I have front desk staff with the retail, so they definitely have the capacity to perform those calls. So offering something like that, like a free upgrade. I don't know if Andy's going to agree with this one. I know Chris is huge on this, like discounting that first service. And he's actually the one that inspired me to offer that Lux. But a lot of people are price shopping when they go onto your online booking or your intake form. And if they don't finish, you want to get them through that door to be able to show them what you actually have to offer or get your van in their driveway for Andy, and so you might have to give them a small discount to make that happen. So I do that for trying to get the prospects, the abandoned bookings, or the people that showed interest but really never got in with us. And then somebody said in here, rebook reminders. Fantastic. Ours go automatically. Um, it's great, but I want to say probably 80 to 90% of our customers are on a recurring schedule. We build out our schedule for the calendar year. So the rebook reminder is more for those like one-off people that like call to book, I would say.
Yeah, thank you, Andy and Melinda, for breaking it down of like how to help get those prospects through the door, and enjoy that business experience and see the value in Planet Pooch or Back and Bone to come back. I know that we didn't get to answer all the questions, but it is close to 6:15. So if you want, Andy, you can like maybe send in the chat Planet Pooch's email. So if anyone has any questions that they still want to ask you, they can reach out if you're comfortable with that, or like your social media channels or anything like that. And once again, thank you, Andy, for sharing your journey with us, from your single mobile van to your fleet of 9, and then boarding and daycare. If you guys want to keep in touch with them, their social media is Planet Pooch. And if you want to tune into future webinars, follow us on our social media channels, mogo.pet on Instagram and Facebook, and our two Facebook community channels as well. Um, okay, Melinda, if you also feel comfortable sending in your contact information in the chat too. It looks like Catherine asked about that. Also, if you're new to MoeGo and you sign up, you can also use Andy's referral code to get 30% off your first month.
One more question before we leave, Andy. Will I be seeing you at Hershey at the daycare and boarding?
Yeah, I'll be there. I didn't make it for this one with the bike accident because I'm hobbling around. But hopefully I'll be recovered by then. And
All right. Well, then I'll see you in November.
for sure. I Yeah, Stacy, can you put in the chat Planet Pooch Pet Services and our handle for the Instagram? And I'm not a consultant by anyone can reach out. I'm always willing to answer questions. People do that already. I'm not going to charge anybody anything to answer questions. So you're more than happy to reach out. Stacy will put it in the chat there, I hope. Yeah, no, this was great. This was great. I'll see you. I'll see you there for sure. Did Stacy put it in? Let me see. There we go.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Stacy. We need to meet Stacy. Will Stacy be at Hershey?
yeah. Stacy should really do the seminar. She's really the one who does everything. I'm just.
I need to meet Stacy. Stacy and Hershey, we're gonna go out for a cocktail, okay?
Maybe I'll bring you to the boarding and daycare facility. Oh, look, we're going up.
Oh, and the email's my email. I typed it in there, but it's just my name, Melinda@mogo.pet. Just for anyone. And then it looks like it's planetpoochservices@gmail.com. Um, I love cocktails. There's a lemon berry at Hershey, guys. It's amazing.
That's
I'll let everyone go, but thanks so much for having me and MoeGo and Andy. It was fantastic chatting with you.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Likewise, it was very, very nice. I really appreciate the opportunity. And if anyone has follow-up questions, definitely reach out.
It
yeah.
says some people are having problems with the email, Ivy.
Don't worry, we'll send out an email after the webinar, and then I'll add everyone's like emails there so that you guys can contact them afterwards for any questions. I think
Awesome.
that's good then. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
MoeGo